Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 11. Module 11 is the last poetry module, which does mean that all of your poetry assignments do need to be submitted by the end of this module. So by April 9th, you will have all of your poems submitted. All of the poetry assignments will close at that point, and so anything that's not submitted will not be counted towards your grade. And if you have any issues with submissions or any questions about that, you're more than welcome to send me an email. So just kind of keep that in mind, keeping up with the class. Everything has to be submitted by the end of this, this module, and we'll be done with the poetry units then. We're moving on after this to drama, so that'll be our last genre of writing. So Module 11 is the last poem assignment, as well as your feedback discussion board, just like you did for the short story one. So the first thing that you'll want to do in this module is go in and submit to the poetry feedback discussion board. You are submitting 2 of your poems, so mimicry, free verse, fixed form, or if you've completed author's choice already, then you could do those or that one as well. You're going to create 2 separate posts. Make sure that you do upload your poems separately so that you can have feedback for both of them. Don't put them in the same post. Otherwise, that will be limiting the number of posts that students can respond to. So make sure that you go down here, you hit reply. For a poem, it's often easiest to just copy and paste the words in instead of uploading a file, and then it just makes it easier for other people to read, as well as for us to access, and just there's less clicking. So it's a good idea to do that, unless your poem is either really long or is in a special format, so that we need to be able to read it the way that you have created it. Then you might upload a file. When you're done with that, then obviously you want to look for poems to respond to. Once you see poems have been uploaded, first try to pick one that doesn't have a response to it. If all of them have responses, then you can do a second response on a poem or a third response, but make sure that your suggestions for changes are all unique and different. You can, if you want, you can keep, general comments. A lot of times students will copy a line of a poem and then give a suggestion for a correction. As long as there's specific suggestions, then that's fine. There are feedback checklists that you can use. There's one in the front cover that's kind of generic for poetry, and then there are also plenty of checklists in the chapter that go over specific things like meter and rhythm, or figurative language, or line length, or things like that. So there's a lot of stuff that you can use, and they're just those generic questions that you can ask yourself about those types of feedback items that are often used for poetry. So you'll have 5 posts for this discussion board, and then of course you're going to assess it in the quiz that you'll do, the self-assessment quiz. The self-assessment quiz has one question about the author's choice poem, and then the other ones are specific to the discussion board. Make sure that you don't give yourself a score on this quiz until you have actually posted your poems and then responded to 3 of them, because then you'll be inaccurate and I will have to go in and change your grade. So make sure that you're doing that correctly. So the other thing in the module obviously is submitting the last poem, which is the author's choice poem. The author's choice poem assignment is it's open-ended as to what you want to write about, and I include this in here just because the other poetry assignment they're fairly restricted, and sometimes students just have an idea that they want to explore, and then they don't get that opportunity, and then they kind of they don't feel like they got enough out of the poetry units for that. So in this case, this last poem, it gives you a chance to either pick a free verse or a fixed form. Some students like to explore a different type of fixed form than they did for the fixed form poem. And then sometimes students just want to write another free verse. And in this case, there is no restriction on the topic. You can just kind of keep it open-ended, except that make sure that you are, if you choose a form, stick to the conventions of that form, and then make sure that you are really putting some effort into creating a unique unique poem, something that's interesting and unique look at a subject, just a different way of seeing something. Again, using that concrete language, making sure that you're not being too vague with your subject, and make sure that you're complete. Your poem is complete, that we don't have any questions at the end of where this is going or what's going on. And then obviously there will be the submission spot for this one. So that will conclude all of the poems that you write for this class, and conclude getting some feedback from your peers. At this point, obviously you've done short stories, we've completed that, you got feedback from me, from your peers, and then same thing with poetry. Once you get feedback on your poems, whether it's instructor feedback or peer feedback, or even if you want to use the online writing lab, getting feedback in that way, go back into your assignments and make corrections, make some changes to your poems, or write new versions of those poems. Those might go in your journal. Just because obviously going back through and critiquing your own work and working on your own work over again is one of the standard practices in any form of creative writing. We have to be able to accept criticism and then also go back through and recognize when changes need to be made. So if you have any questions, be sure to send me an email. Otherwise, I hope you are doing